Hi, my name is Emily Iannelli, and I am going to give a little bit of a lesson. Um, I would love to obviously give a lesson in thermodynamics or heat transfer, which is some of the coursework I studied in college, but I'm far removed from teaching a thermodynamics class or heat transfer, and besides, I don't have the lab equipment to illustrate. So I'm going to do a lesson of a different kind, and the lesson is about life. It's a little bit philosophical. I've been very um, affected these past few days, well, almost a week now, since the terrorist attacks in Paris, France. I know I've been through it before. I've struggled, even though I wasn't directly affected. I'm not directly affected now, though I am psychologically affected. And I'm not directly affected back in September of 11th of 2001 either. But psychologically, I am affected in many ways. And I'm a spoken word artist also, and the last 5 of my recordings are centered around my feelings about this recent tragedy in Paris. And I'm in shock, to put it mildly. Um, I've been to the city of Paris, France. I went to one of the offices when I used to work in Long Island in Bohemia for an engineering firm. I went to work with one of the engineers who was an hour outside of Paris in the countryside. Beautiful place, loved the countryside, loved being in France. I loved the people, I loved the cuisine, I loved the ambiance. I just loved everything about being in France. I stayed at a hotel that my coworker or peer set up for me, and I was treated very nicely. And I didn't get to see much of Paris, but I was able to spend the weekend there. And my friend drove me into the city when we were leaving. I was only in France for about a week, for the week and then the weekend. So I was up in the countryside for 5 days, and then I was in Paris, the city, for the weekend. And my friend drove me into the city, and I loved it. It was beautiful. I got to see so many sights. We got to drive on the Champs-Élysées. I got to sadly drive past the tunnel where the tragedy of Princess Diana, where her accident took place. I got to see famous sights. I saw the Arc de Triomphe. I saw the Champs-Élysées, where I walked along that avenue was beautiful. I saw the church Notre Dame. I walked in the Jardin des Tuileries. I saw the Eiffel Tower. I saw the Louvre. I went into the city, walked around, and I got to see so many of the beautiful bridges and the architecture. And it was wonderful, such a beautiful place. And just to think of what happened this whole week and what those people, the French, are going through is horrible. God, I'm so sad, and I just can't express it in words, how I feel. I loved France so much that I would love to go back and show my son and my family the sights. It's such a beautiful place. And I would have no hesitation going to visit in Paris. I loved it and I want to see it again. And I'm just heartbroken that they have to endure such a tragedy with so many people dying. And I just have no words. I mean, I spoke words in my writings and my recordings, but I'm devastated and I just feel at a loss. I just, we're taught in life to accept people, to learn to get along, to understand others. I am not a vengeful person, but I don't believe what those terrorists did should be forgiven. I truly believe that those terrorists should pay for what they did. Just like bin Laden paid, he hid, and he thought he'd never get caught, but the persistence of our president in finding him was what was the turning point. And I feel that these terrorists should be killed, and I mean that. I think what they did is evil, and I don't think it's called for. I believe that anyone who terrorizes should go to pay the price. You take a life, then your life should be taken. I don't believe there's any call for this. There is no reason to inflict terror and fear among people. We all have to learn to get along with each other. I am very upset to see the news and hear of all those people just going about their business, dining in a French restaurant, attending a rock concert, seeing a sporting event, walking down the avenue. No one deserves to be killed like this. No one deserves to be killed to begin with, but no one deserves to be terrorized and brutally killed. I don't understand it. I'll never understand terrorism. And I believe that we have to fight. We have to stand up for the rights of those lost. A young girl from California was studying design in school in Paris. She had a dream. She was like any other young girl with a dream and a hope. She was out to dinner in a restaurant where terrorists unleashed their terror, and she sadly is one of the victims. Her family mourns her loss. Her school mourns her loss. We, who don't know her personally, mourn her loss. Life is supposed to be lived and enjoyed, not taken away by senseless craziness. There's no need to hate. There's no need to terrorize. What is the point? Why do terrorists exist? I have no idea. I'll never know the answer, because what terrorists do don't make sense. There's no reason for it. We've lived through horrors, and generations before us lived through horrors. You can't compare them, they're different, but they happened, and they're evil. They are evil people in the world, all throughout time. And there is no reason to be subjected to this. There's no reason. I'll never understand this. Never. I can't accept it. I don't want to have to see this. It's horrible. Heartbreaking. Makes me want to just... I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't think we can ever know the answer. There's no reason for terrorism. Why do we have to see this over and over and over again? We have to end this terrorism. The scary premise is that it is going to happen again. We don't know when, we don't know where, we don't know who, we don't know how, but it will happen again. And we must find ways to combat it. We must put an end to terrorism. We must put an end to terrorism. There's no need to terrorize. We must put an end to terrorism